Forest soil is very soft because it contains a large amount of air in it. Micro and microscopic animals are the primary dwellers on the fallen leaves, subsequently followed by microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, and actinomycetes that are invisible to the naked eyes. The screen shows how fungi invade the leaf tissues. Here, you see a swarm of bacteria feeding on fallen leaves, which are gradually decomposed. Sunlight doesn't reach this far, a lively world of tiny animals which help decompose organic matter into soil. This will feed tiny animals such as earthworms to live more comfortably. It has always been said in Japan that earthworms till and soften the soil. The decomposition of organic matter needs the help of microorganisms and microanimals like tiny mites. And this is a fungus spore. These are microorganisms called fungi. These are actinomycetes, which become dominant as the temperatures rise due to microbial decomposition. At the final stage, the organic matter becomes a substance called humus, which comprises bacteria by developing root nodules. These bacteria fix nitrogen from the air, and later, this fixed nitrogen will become available to the plant. These are nitrogen-fixing bacteria called rhizobia. Here you see mycorrhizal fungi. They invade the root cells, and in exchange for sugars, they bring nutrients, especially phosphorus, back to the plant. The phosphorus taken in by the bacteria is dyed in red in this picture. Countless hairs begin to grow at the sides of the root. Now let's observe a root growth under a microscope. Root hairs are growing sideways. What's now happening around the root? This is the growing point at the root tip. The elongation of roots takes place right here. The growing point is quite active in metabolism. The old sections continually peel off. We can see something still moving in plant cells which have come off. Then, microorganisms prey on them. Although invisible, nutrients are flowing out of the whole root. A large number of microorganisms are attracted there. They multiply by feeding on the nutrients secreting out of the root. When dead, the crop will then feed on their remains. Seen around the root are bacteria. Numerous protozoa are also observed. Microorganisms survive by cooperating with the root, creating a world very similar to intestinal bacteria in human beings. Let's now make a microscopic observation of microorganisms in soil, fighting one against another to take the nutrients. We place two kinds of fungus spore. They extend themselves by extending hyphae from the spores. Who wins? A closer look at their struggle helps us find they suddenly stop when approaching each other at a certain point. it appears as if some kind of information prevents their further growth. In this way, they seem to keep their own territories. These bacteria hold out against each other by creating a border space between them. The thick one is a kind of pathogenic fungi, and the thin one also a kind of fungi known as trichoderma. The thin one winds itself around the thick one. The thicker fungus begins to melt. This indeed presents one type of microbial competition. Many kinds of nematode in soil feed on fungi and bacteria, while some fungi eat nematodes. This fungi prepared a trap with its own body. A nematode's got caught in it. Now the fungus eats it up. Bacteria also feed on a dead nematode. Bacteria increase in number with a tremendous rate. The primitive amoebas which are emerging in front are preying on the bacteria. Is the amoeba aiming at the orange-colored organic matter? No. It passes it and attacks a group of microorganisms. They're swallowed, melt slowly, and are eventually digested in the amoeba. But there's a time when a strong amoeba gets weakened, and soon more bacteria surround it. There are struggles for survival in an unseen underground world, where a certain ecosystem prevents the outbreak of specific organisms. In the healthy soil with the proper amount of organic matter, colonies of various microorganisms can be observed. We see only a few kinds of microorganisms in the diseased soil. Here, one kind of microorganism spreads over the surface in a laboratory dish. Growing longer here are the hyphae of Fusarium, a representative soil-borne pathogenic fungi. Seen on the right is the root of the crop. The Fusarium gets closer to the root hair and invades the root. Attacked by the Fusarium, the weakened root is now open to the attack of other microorganisms, such as bacteria and nematodes. This puts an end to the crop's life. We find antifungal microorganisms living symbiotically in the root of spring onions. These are pathogenic fungi and antifungal microorganisms at the root of the onion. The Fusarium is attempting to extend its hyphae. Surrounding the fungi are bacteria, which are the antifungal microorganisms. A large swarm of this bacteria are encompassing the fungi to suppress its growth. These bacteria are also capable of melting the fungi. Mixed cultivation is one of the biological control measures making use of microorganisms instead of soil fumigation. Creating nature on the farm requires mysterious workings of nature, as well as human endeavors. Once interested in the reality, one would surely realize how important it is to promote sustainable agricultural practices friendly to the environment that will help us produce healthy food. The roots of crops are full of life, firmly growing in the healthy soil.